Hello and welcome to this Therapeutic Thursday. So, anxiety. I want to talk about anxiety again because so many people struggle with anxiety. And it's not even just a diagnosed generalized anxiety. Everyone has some form of anxiety, and it's actually good for us. It can warn us of things. Our anxiety is that primal warning that something may not be right. We need to really look at this. However, there are a lot of us who that's an overdrive. That response is just, it's too much. And what do we do to compensate for that? How do we allow ourselves to challenge those anxious thoughts? So for example, how many times have you, say, seen somebody out in public and you thought that they either, ignored you on purpose or gave you a dirty look? And you're like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? Right? Those kind of things. Or you just question, okay, why don't people like me? Or even there's no way I can go into town like this. My hair looks horrible. People are going to think I look like trash. So all these things, or I'm never good enough. I can't do that. There's no way I can, speak in public, or, so that's a good example, like, having to do a presentation, like you get so anxious and sometimes even people will have panic attacks because they think, they don't feel confident in doing that. They're like, okay, what they're going to laugh at me, this, then there's when we catastrophize things, right? So, and that's actually called a catastrophizing is a cognitive distortion. So when we say, I had a public presentation and all I could think of is everyone laughing at me, that I was going to bomb it so hard and everyone was going to laugh at me and think I was a failure. And so that makes it worse, of course. You're thinking, oh my gosh. But what that is we're catastrophizing. We're thinking of the absolute worst case scenario, which is so minimally, that it's going to happen. So what can we do when we're in those situations? So if we go on the public speaking one, let's talk about how we can decatastrophize. So, okay, public speaking. I'm going to fail. Everyone's going to laugh at me. Wow. Am I really going to fail? What's going to happen? Is everyone really going to laugh at me? Let me think here. So if I'm challenging these anxious thoughts, how about I look at, okay, what is the absolute worst case scenario? Everyone laughs at me. They're pointing fingers. Everyone thinks I'm just useless, right? Or maybe people get up and walk out and they're laughing or start throwing things at me. Okay, that worst case scenario. Best case scenario. Oh my gosh, I bomb it. I am like this awesome public speaker and I feel on top of the world, right? So you got the worst and the best case scenario. Now, where do you think you're going to end up? That's a question. Okay, well, yeah, you may do amazing, right? And there's a better chance that you're going to blow it out of the water. It's going to be beautiful. There's a better chance of that than everyone laughing at you, pointing at you, throwing stuff at you, walking out, right? So you first start out there. But then where do you think it's going to be? Where is, middle? It's probably going to be closer to that you're doing really well than people throwing stuff at you. So you keep thinking about how likely those thoughts are that are going in your head. How likely is that to even happen? So most likely, you're going to do fine. Maybe you're going to trip up a little bit. You can think of, well, what happened last time you did that, right? Did people laugh at you? And how long ago was that? So, you start thinking about these things and challenging those anxious thoughts and really start to decatastrophize, your thought pattern. And thinking of the worst outcome, the best outcome, and the likely outcome really helps you to just challenge those thoughts. So, like speaking of seeing somebody in public that and you're thinking, oh, they must not like me because they ignored me. What did I do to them? Oh my gosh. I'm a horrible person. Well, Maybe they didn't see you. Maybe they did, but they were in a real rush and they didn't have the time to talk to you. That's okay too, you know? And instead of going, oh, well, if that was the case, geez, they don't like me that much enough to stop and spend, a minute saying hi. Well, maybe they want to spend more time with you, but they didn't have the time and didn't want to sound like they were rude, right, for leaving too quickly. So there's all kinds of different things you could think of, but really it's starting to challenge what those thoughts are, using these tools. What's irrational and what's rational, and that's a big thing. Looking at these things that go through our head. Is that a rational thought? Is that really going to happen? No. The likelihood is so low. So how about we bring some rational thought into it? What would you say to your friend? Say you had a friend or, a daughter or whomever, someone that you really cared about that was coming to you and saying, oh my God, I'm going to fail. What would you tell them? Would you tell them, yeah, you probably are. Haha. No, you're not going to do that, right? Well, why would you do that to yourself? So really think on that. Think on challenging those thoughts when they come up. And I think we'll talk a little more about anxiety. There's several different methods that can be used to really help, any form of anxiety, whether it's a very minimal and only comes to you sometimes, or whether you have panic attacks. There's all kinds of things. Anxiety can be a godsend at sometimes, but it can really bring you down at other times. And there are tools that we can use to help us so that our life isn't driven by anxiety. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next week.